Ho ho ho! Welcome to Ready Moveset Go, episode 8. As always, I'm your host, John from Room 100. And joining me as usual are PK King 544.
Hi.
PizzaDudeManGuy.
Hey.
And NantenJex.
I didn't know Santa Claus was going to be here. What have you got me?
Yeah.
Have I been good boy this year?
Well, hopefully some fun and exciting movesets, because obviously Santa Claus would be very interested in moveset making himself.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
That's just
He makes toys, why not movesets?
Yeah, exactly.
There we go. Yeah.
It's the toys of the characters.
Yeah. So, if this is your first time watching, this is a moveset creating series where we take a theme and build a character that kind of represents that whole theme, try to figure out how that character and how that theme would work in Smash. And this time, we're not going directly off of a suggestion necessarily. We usually look at the comments and we have it all kind of laid out for future episodes. But this time we decided to be a little bit more timely since the winter season is upon us and it's going to start getting chillier. We decided that we wanted to make movesets around the theme of winter and ice and cold and all things in that nature. Other than that, no real restrictions, and the order for this episode is going to be PK, PizzaDude, myself, and Nanten. So is everyone ready to go?
Ready.
Yes, so.
Alrighty, kick us off for I think the first time you've been first, PK.
Wow, what an honor. So ice, snow, winter, right? I know I say this every episode, but I was low-key struggling. Every time I could think of anything, it was less of like a character and more of like a stage in a game, but that stage didn't really have anything to do with anything else. So I was like, okay, ice character, what should I do? So like last time, I think it was last time, I asked my boyfriend and in 5 seconds he has the perfect answer. So I'm like, wow, okay, I don't even know why you're not here instead of me. I went for Lord Fredrik, the final boss in the Tropical Freeze Donkey Kong game.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I haven't played Tropical Freeze. I've played the other two before that. I haven't played Tropical Freeze, so I feel like kind of like an imposter doing this. But I've seen him a lot everywhere. He seems really cool, and he's the icy dude. So I'm like, okay, like there we go, ice. So this dude, Donkey Kong, King K. Rool already got in, so I don't really think the chances for him are super high. But they keep pushing this game, so maybe. Anyway, so this dude, if you don't know him, he has this big horn, and he uses to shoot out a bunch of stuff. He puts ice on the floor, and I wanted to kind of see how I could put that in the game. I don't know much about like affecting stages in Smash. I know like in Rivals, that's something that's pretty heavily with like stage control and stuff. But I didn't know how much to do that in Smash, and I didn't want to blend those two too much. So I think I kind of figured something out. Okay, so his main gimmick is either kind of putting ice or lava on the stage in the same manner, like not putting lava, but as if he made like the top blocks like a thin layer of lava. Like if you were to like stand on a magma block or something on like Kirby big stage, whatever that one's called. So his up B and down B are kind of similar. His down B is pretty much like Yoshi's, where he does the ground pound. You can move a bit more horizontal, but the big difference is when you do that down B, where you started it, you leave like a little puddle of lava there. So lava's just kind of chilling there. And then when you do up B, you do a big spin, and it's pretty much DDDs, but you go more horizontal as well. And then where you land, you make like 3 blocks of lava in front of you. So that's how you get lava on the field, and lava works exactly how you think. Someone touches it, ouch, and they're flying in the air. And then for his neutral B, he shoots those projectiles that he shoots in his boss fight. If you just press it normally, it's like these snowballs, and when they land, little penguins come out. I don't know if I really want penguins walking around the stage, but if anything, they could be dumb and have horrible AI and just walk off the stage. But I do think little penguins walking around would be kind of cute. But if you hold it, you actually shoot these like ice sculptures of dragons. You can do it like straight up and then they come back down, or you can do it horizontally and their wings kind of spread out. So it's a pretty big hitbox, just going straight forward. I don't know if that'd be too big, but obviously we can adjust that as needed. And when the ice dragon lands on the stage, or if it like crashes into the stage, it makes a little ice puddle. Well, not a puddle, but a little ice area where it lands. These lava and ice areas will only last like 7 seconds, maybe, until they disappear. But yeah, so you can angle the neutral beat, and it does that. And then the side beat is this charge that he does, where he kind of leads with his horns or hat, or I think they're horns, but he just kind of charges with that, and if you do that while you're on ice, you get a bit of a boost from it. So I think that's pretty cool. It kind of tries to tie in the moveset a bit more. And for his normals, it would be a lot of like stomps and slaps and like swinging the horn and maybe stuff with his belly. And I was thinking maybe some of those moves can like still put ice on the floor, or maybe put lava on the floor, because right now you can only do it through your specials, but maybe that's good. But generally, that's it. He is a lot like King K. Rool. If he was like an echo of him, that would honestly probably work better. But, or even maybe a skin. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's a stretch. But, yeah, that is Lord Fredrik.
Yeah, I've never really thought of him. I've heard him being an echo for King K. Rool a few times, but I never really necessarily know if it would work. They're definitely the right size.
Yeah, I could see semi-clone at least.
Yeah, semi-clone might work, because the horn could be similar to the blunderbuss, but shoots out ice instead of a cannon.
Yeah, no, I also haven't played Tropical Freeze, but I mean, clearly aesthetically, he I think is a very good choice for this theme, like because it's not only kind of like. It's not only icy, but he does have that, like the fur stuff like that, and like I guess the more Nordic look, which is a cool thing for the theme. I'm surprised that I guess maybe it does and you didn't say, but so the neutral beat, you shoot the ice and it can cause like the ice on the floor, which I also I guess it's possible, but they they just changed every stage for Steve, and now they have to go back to this.
Do it again.
Well, you know,
I mean, maybe
we don't need to have realistic limitations for this show.
yeah,
that's true.
I'm pretty sure we said something similar last time, and then Steve got in and did just that. I do understand. Yeah,
I think the way it would probably work is there'd be like how the Inkling's ink can be put on the stage layer.
Yeah.
It would be put like, it would like freeze the top of the stage layer, and then anyone who like touches that just gets knocked up, like as if they had touched lava or something, like on Brinstar. So like it'd be like an ice projectile, but when it hits the floor, like maybe it bounces on the floor a few times and then just sticks to the floor and it just stays there. So players can get knocked into it and it'll eventually melt. That's how I imagined it anyway.
That's true. So, but yeah, so I think that's cool, and it's something like the slippery floor effect was something I definitely thought of, but I didn't wind up having a way to use. But I am surprised that there's no just straight up freeze move in this, because I feel like that's like that to me, that was like the #1 thing I had to make sure was in there. I feel like it could maybe just be like an F smash or something like that, but
that's true.
But yeah, I was slightly surprised about that, but I think either way, that's a really a very fun one. And I like it. It's a very fun designed character too.
Yeah, thank you.
I think that's good.
Yeah,
Boyfriend did a good job.
Yeah.
So let's see. So that's his PizzaDude.
PizzaDude. That's right. So when I think of ice-themed video game characters, the first one that comes to mind is Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. So
yeah, of course.
I just went with that.
Yeah, why not? You know.
So I was like, yeah, okay. He's another fighting game character, so same vein as like Ryu or Terry Bogard, and I thought I'd follow the same kind of formula with the you have both special moves Smash Brothers style and special moves manual style. So that's all well and good, and we'll get into the differences between the regular specials and the manual input specials. And of course the fighting style is pretty much all set. You just bring in Sub-Zero's classic Mortal Kombat Ninja moveset, and you're all good. And the way that plays out then is you have a lot of fast but realistically fast combo attacks that don't do a lot of knockback. The big knockback comes from finishing the combos and from some of the smash attacks, like the up smash has got to be the iconic Mortal Kombat uppercut. He just launches people into the air. Now, obviously, right? Of course, you want third-party games to have, as much, of their representation to be as close to source material as possible. But you can't do blood in Smash Brothers. I'm assuming. I think there's a line there.
The uppercut's not going to zoom in on like Link's skull or something.
Yeah, no. However,
that critical attack, where it already zooms in on Smash, just adds the extra effects.
Yeah.
What I do think would be funny if they had a Mortal Kombat character in Super Smash Brothers is if instead of blood they pulled out as its own reference the old Super Nintendo like slimy green sweat that they used as a replacement for the blood.
Really good.
And so it's not like a Mortal Kombat reference, it's a Nintendo's Mortal Kombat reference. It just, as you hit people with Sub-Zero or Sub-Zero gets hurt, then just like ridiculously green sweat flies off of them.
That's good. That's good.
So as for the special moves, I mean, I'm pretty much just using the classic Sub-Zero special moves, specifically kind of catering towards Mortal Kombat 3. So neutral special is the good old ice freeze. It's like a Hadouken, but it's made of ice shards, and it freezes people. The regular special version of it, kind of catering more towards how Smash Brothers ice moves work. When you hit somebody with it, yes, they freeze into a block of ice, but they also kind of go flying back a little bit. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of its own move. Mm-hmm. However, if you do the manual input for the ice freeze, then, like Mortal Kombat, they'll actually freeze in place, allowing you to then follow up with a combo. So you can freeze opponents and then get into a combo where you're not restricted. That's the benefit, rather than extra damage, is just actually getting to freeze them in place without them flying away. Now, to balance that a little bit, there is a window of time that goes from when they're frozen to a few frames, after they break out of the ice, where they can't be frozen immediately again. So you can't just spam manual ice freeze and make them frozen over and over and over and over again infinitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Side special is the slide. Very simple. Sub-Zero just slides on the ground as if it were made of ice. And it's just a forward projecting forward move. When you hit somebody with it, it goes a pretty good distance. When you hit somebody with it, it just, very simply, knocks them up into the air. Nothing super special. If you do the manual input, then what'll happen here is you'll actually, as you're sliding, you'll carry the opponent with you. So that then, at the end of the move, when they pop up into the air, they're in a position right in front and diagonally up of you that you can lead into like an uppercut or a combo.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay.
The up special is based on the ice shower attack. So when you use it on the ground, you just shoot like a preset sheet of ice straight up into the air, and then it rains back down a fixed distance away from you. It's a bit like Palutena's side B in that regard, and so it's a very fixed attack. You have to kind of think about, okay, is the opponent there? If they're straight above you, then yeah, they're going to get hit with it, and then they'll get frozen and knock up into the air a fixed distance. Or if they happen to be on that exact spot in the ground in front of you, the ice will fall down in there and freeze them and knock them away a little. Or actually, that'll always freeze them in place here. But it's kind of hard to pinpoint. If you do the manual input, though, you actually get the different variations of ice shower where you can, like, pick the distance that the ice falls with the joystick as it's coming down. And that makes it easier, but you have to do the manual input. Now, to make it a recovery move, the move works differently in the air. It has a made-up Smash Brothers effect. If you use it on the ground, it's like Sub-Zero's Ice Shower. If you use it in the air, what'll happen is, while Sub-Zero is launching the ice upward, he'll also go upward with it and just fly with the ice. And then he'll just launch the ice straight down from where he is. It won't go forward at all. But if you do the manual input in the air, then you can change the trajectory of the ice as normal, which means you also change your trajectory and how you're falling. You're not just going straight up. You can actually maneuver left and right a bit if you do the manual input in the air. And then the down special is the ice clone.
There we go.
You make a clone of just a stationary clone of yourself out of ice, and totally just for fun, right? It'll be in whatever position you were in when you use the down special. So you can even put them in the air, and then they will just stay stagnant in the air, these ice clones. And, just like Mortal Kombat, if you touch the ice clone, you get frozen. The special effects basically work exactly like the neutral special. If someone touches the ice clone, they'll freeze but also knock back a little bit. But if you do the manual input ice clone, then they'll freeze in place. So if you do a manual ice clone somewhere like in the sky, you can set a really interesting trap where people then just freeze and fall. But you can only have one ice clone present at a time. If you make another ice clone, the one you had disappears. And that's pretty much the moveset. The final smash is a very special sequence. Because, I mean, you got to have something pertaining to it. The final smash is called Fatality.
Yeah.
Now, the way it works is when you activate the move, it goes into not really a cutscene sequence, but like a pseudo cutscene sequence. You're still on the stage, but you and the nearest opponent to you, when you activate the move, within a certain range. If they're too far away from you, it just doesn't work at all. They still have to be within a certain range of you. But the closest opponent to you goes into their shield stun animation. And then the other opponents, if you're fighting more opponents, just kind of disappear for the duration of the move. And then you hear Shao Kahn's voice and the text comes up and it says, finish him. At this time, you have the option to enter one of several, an excessive amount that, defies reason just for fun, like Mortal Kombat. You have a variety of inputs that you can put in to do different finishing moves.
Oh.
If you put in no input, after a while, Sub-Zero will just jump in front of the opponent and deliver an uppercut. And it's just like doing a slightly stronger version of your up smash. And maybe that's enough to kill them if they're at a high percent. But you can also do Nintendo-friendly versions of a lot of his other fatalities. You could use, like, I just put a small list here. You might do the Ice Shatter. You freeze them like you're using your neutral special, and then you jump in and you uppercut them. And it's a stronger version of no input. You might do the Overhead Ice Smash, where you grab them, put them over your head, freeze them, and then here, instead of like cracking them into two pieces on the side, you just blast them upward while they're encased in ice. You might do Frosty, where you take off your mask, breathe ice on them, and then here they just kind of go flying forward while they're frozen. So a lot of them are just kind of like, where's your positioning on this final smash you want to use? If you want to get into like some of the really weird manual button inputs that you can do, you might transform into a polar bear, jump onto the opponent, and then like maul them, which does a lot of damage but less knockback.
Wait, I like how you're not gonna like child friendlyify that one.
Well, there's no blood. I mean, how is that different than like? How's that different from like Beware, like coming out? I don't know,
but that one just sounds like.
I mean, how is it any different from Wario just eating people?
Or like Banjo just coming and punching you? It's another bear.
Without context, like okay, fair.
I just want it to be like a disturbingly hyper-realistic polar bear as well. It does not fit the style.
Photorealistic polar bear.
And then, of course, the hardest button combination gets you Friendship, which is Sub-Zero just transforms himself into a friendly, nice-looking snowman. And then if the opponent has more than 100%, like Zelda's Final Smash, they just inexplainably explode and disappear.
I thought they would just leave or like,
I guess I'll just go off the stage now.
Just leave off the stage.
So, I don't know. I was trying to think of a way to have, because it's such a big element, of having the fatalities as part of the regular moveset as opposed to just being a Final Smash, because you can turn those off. But with how much sequencing goes into it, I just couldn't find a way to do it smoothly. So that's what I use as the Final Smash, and that's my Sub-Zero moveset.
Can't wait to activate the Final Smash and then just jab and mess the whole thing up.
And you just jump in and do an uppercut.
No, that should be if you do no input. If you accidentally cock it up, then that should
then he just does his
like
regular neutral
combat.
Yeah.
But whoops.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a great one. Sub-Zero is like the #1 obvious kind of ice character.
You say that, I completely forgot about Sub-Zero.
Nice.
I was trying to think of ice characters, like, what ice video game characters are there that I can do? Sub-Zero never entered my mind.
Didn't you do a Sub-Zero for like an all content or something?
We have an all content which has Sub-Zero in it, but it wasn't an episode I did.
Okay.
It was another guy on the team called Hamada, who's a big Mortal Kombat fan. He did Sub-Zero. Gotcha. I've only played like Mortal Kombat 10 and Armageddon, and then the original, and that's it. And I don't play a Sub-Zero in any of them, so I just completely forgot he existed. Despite being like the main character of Mortal Kombat at one point.
Yeah. I also really haven't played Mortal Kombat too much, but Sub-Zero was my immediate backup. I was a little surprised how different they were.
Oh, really?
Just because I guess mainly because I am ignorant and also lazy, and I went off of Mortal Kombat 11 primarily.
Okay.
Instead of like really going through everything. So like
I'm sure I think Mortal Kombat 11 actually doesn't have the ice clones at all. It's like the first one that's missing the ice clones.
The ice clone shows up. The ice clone shows up a couple ways. I think there's a fatality where you make an ice clone with a spear and then like throw them onto it or something.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that said, I did not have an ice clone. Though I think that'd be really cool. Whether or not I think it could be cool whether they froze them. Like, they froze enemies if they make contact, or if they were, like, a planted counterattack almost. Like, if somebody touches them, they just go, wham! And then they just, like, hit them real quick and disappear.
Yeah, it's kind of like, the way that I have it and the way that it is, it's kind of like a freeze counter.
Yeah. So, yeah, Neutral B was Ice Ball. That right. Was, like, the most obvious. Side B, I did Deathsicle Barrage, which is... more it's just like a Sheik's Neutral B basically. And then up B I did Rising Ice, which it basically I think it's like a pillar below you and it shoots you up. So I figured that would be a good up B. And then down B I called Thin Ice, which I like. It seems like it's more of like a finisher for combos, but it's like Insin's command grab, but instead of in that there are a couple different directions that you can throw them, but instead of actually throwing, or like instead of hitting them out of that command grab, you pick a direction and throw them into an ice wall. So it's like a really good setup, because they're not really going anywhere, but it just like kind of stuns them and locks them in a certain place for a time. But yeah, no, I was surprised how different they were. And I think a cool thing for Sub-Zero could be, because like you said, there's obviously other fighting game characters any Mortal Kombat person could probably fit fairly easily into that mold. I would like to see kind of a system where tilts work more like Marth's Side B, where you can like be hitting tilts but like change the direction and that changes the combo or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I feel like that could be kind of cool. But either way, yeah, Sub-Zero is like great choice. It's just that's such a good easy one that I think everyone would be like, oh cool, Sub-Zero's here.
That one definitely makes the most sense, is the most plausible, and I mean someone had to do it or people would have been upset.
I don't know. So, I feel like I've been picking up a lot of those characters.
Sub-Zero very good, makes sense. And the token ice character, like, I don't know, his name is Sub-Zero, so
that's right.
Yeah.
It's such a I was happy we did this theme just because like ice is, I feel like, a very refreshing kind of element and like visual aesthetic to bring to Smash, because there's so much, like, so many characters are just like explosives, like fire and like really,
it's
besides
the sword element of the
we have ice climbers.
Exactly. There's
ice climbers and Lucas's neutral special are basically the only
but that is so like
ice.
hated. So
yeah,
nobody likes Lucas's neutral special.
You're right.
Oh my gosh. Tell me why I just thought of the whole Raymond in the ice block on Battlefield thing.
Oh, no, please keep that. Stop that.
So I guess that will move us on to me. I guess cutting right to it, my choice was Rundas from Metroid Prime 3.
I did think about Rundas.
Yeah, I'm a huge Metroid fan. I haven't actually beaten Prime 3. I've gotten very far in it. I played it a while ago as a kid, and I was using the strategy guide, and I couldn't find one of the collectibles, and then I gave up. Because I was, I guess, an insane completionist for some reason. Yeah, so Rundas is a great one. My secondary choice or my main choice for like a new Metroid rep has always been Silex, and my understanding is like it kind of feels like the Silex and the Rundas fandoms, I feel like, contend a little bit for with like which one would be better to get in.
Silex has got the most choice there.
Yeah, exactly.
So Silex is definitely the more likely of those two.
Yeah.
You also have the Weevil Phantom too.
And yeah, I guess Weevil's another big one too. Not really. You don't see. I don't think you see a whole lot of Spire necessarily.
Camden, Spire, Trace. Trace was always my favorite.
Trace was the coolest.
Yeah.
Trace
My
Trace
god,
is
yes.
a really cool one.
I found another Trace person.
I would love a sniper type of character in Smash, but either way. So I mean my immediate first thought for this was I could either do Rundas or I could do Noxus. Either way, I'm going Metroid, and I decided Rundas would make more sense because more people care about him.
Yeah.
But I was actually very pleasantly surprised. I felt like there's a lot to work with. So normals for Rundas would be based off. I guess before we get into that, his feel, obviously, if you're going to put another bounty hunter in, you're usually looking to Samus as sort of a base. I felt that Rundas would be a little bigger, a little heavier, and a little faster, but not necessarily have really strong, like, explosive one-hit moves. A lot of his moves and normals would be a little bit weaker and put emphasis on using your specials to, like, freeze people and kind of get them in place to do what is best to do. Most of the normals, like the jabs and tilts and aerials, stuff like that, would be using like a big ice blade slash. He can generate like a big ice blade on his arm, and that's like really his closest range attack in the boss fight in Prime 3, so I felt that would make sense for most of the normals. F Smash gets a little bit weirder. He obviously has can use his powers to generate huge chunks of ice, so I mostly went with that for Smash attacks. F Smash, he generates a huge block of ice that he throws forward, which would in practice feel kind of like Bayonetta's F Smash. And then up smash, he spins a giant ice shard in a circle above him, and down smash, he shoots these winding ice trails on the ground in both directions, and they kind of end in a burst of ice. So for specials, there's no real gimmick to an ice character, I think, besides the freezing of people, and it's kind of just like do they freeze people? Do they make the ground slippery? My definite things that I found for basically any ice character I was looking for is they freeze people and they can spawn ice walls. Neutral B has two uses. If you just tap it, you shoot an ice missile. It's a fairly decent projectile, not a lot of knockback, and if you get hit by multiple in a row, you slow down a little bit. But if you hold and charge the move and release it, then you'll shoot an actual frost beam or an ice beam where it's just like a wave of frost goes out in front of you a little bit. It's not a continuous thing like a fire move or like Ice Climbers. It's just a burst of frost, and if you get hit by that, you get frozen immediately. Side B is the Ice Pillars move. So again, it's different depending on how you use it. If you tap it, then you create an ice pillar below you, and you just kind of rise up from the ground. I think it would do a little bit of damage if you touch the pillar, but it wouldn't do anything too crazy. And it wouldn't launch you necessarily, it just kind of raises you up. If you hold the button, you can then select where, basically which direction and how far you will spawn ice shards and ice pillars that come up from the ground, while also still raising yourself up. So basically, I thought this was a really fun move because in his boss fight, there's tons of huge pillars and stuff like that, and I thought it could be cool to alter the battlefield in some way, basically, and be able to just kind of create these walls and platforms that people have to work around until they melt away. Up B is one of his most iconic things, which is the ice surfing. This is pretty straightforward. It's kind of like one of the Star Fox up Bs if you mixed it with the directional control of Diddy Kong or Greninja. He surfs on ice, and if you are in front of it, you're getting hit continuously by that move. And then down B is Ice Armor. This is a move that you have to charge fully to actually make it do its intended purpose. But if you charge it fully, you will build up a thin layer of ice around yourself, and it lessens incoming damage. Not necessarily knockback, but it just kind of decreases the damage, and it either decays away slowly, or the more damage you take, the more it will get ripped off of you.
Okay.
And then final smash, I just called it Cryokinetic Explosion. Basically, it's just a huge whirling vortex of frost that hurts and slows people down as giant pillars of ice start rising all around. Kind of similar to Ice Climber's Final Smash, but more kind of disjointed. And then those can do the really big damage that would knock people away. So that's basically it. Palette swaps based off of the other hunters.
Oh yeah, cool.
And yeah, I think Rundas is just a cool character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rundas is like a popular choice because I think it was the Brawl era where he was like the big requested Metroid character outside of Ridley.
Right. You had Ridley and then you had the Ridley alternatives.
Yeah. Like Rundas was the one back in the day that everyone would go to before it at one point became Adam and one point became Silex. Just the other bounty hunter because Ridley be too big for this.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like Silex has I think the story elements a lot more. Like obviously there's more story intrigue and he may be, or technically I guess they or it may be more important to the story moving forward. But moveset wise, Rundas I think is actually can deviate from Samus more than Silex because a lot of the hunters and prime hunters function fairly similarly. Like they have the different like morph ball form, and then they have the different preferred primary weapon. But like even when I was making a moveset for Silex, it was still like side B was still kind of a take on the charge shot, but it's like smaller and you can just rapid fire it a little more. So I feel like that is a benefit that Rundas has is very much the entire moveset is I think pretty distinct from Samus.
Yeah, I think I agree with that because him being a boss fight instead of a playable character means they could do a lot more with him and stuff, and there's a lot you can do with his ice, creating ice spikes, creating ice pillars, shooting ice missiles, freezing people, riding on his ice surfboard, which I'm glad you mentioned because of how iconic that is to him.
Of course, yeah.
The other thing too is ever since just kind of a random thing I guess, ever since like Smash 64, I've always wanted Samus to incorporate her ice beam because that's such an important part of Metroid. So seeing an ice-based Metroid character would be really neat just for even that reference.
Yeah, for sure. I think Samus is one of those characters I feel like if there was a completely fresh
like a total overhaul.
Yeah, a total overhaul. Or even just like if, Samus wasn't in the game and people were making movesets, Samus would be one of those where like you would be switching between beams and it would be like a lot more just kind of I think all over the place for better or for worse.
Right, it's kind of the whole classic Smash moveset versus modern Smash moveset thing.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so Rundas gets in and we don't have to worry about that because now ice is being
ice is there. That's
there it is, yeah.
That's a good moveset.
Thank you.
Alright, I guess that just leaves me then. So my character of choice is a character that I'm kind of surprised didn't get into Smash already as like a Mii costume and or a spirit. And this is Jack Frost.
I was going to say.
Shin Megami Tensei.
I was hoping someone was going to pull Jack Frost today. All right, cool.
Yeah, like I had a few choices I was thinking of, and I settled on two. And Jack Frost, he's the mascot of Atlas. Like I would have said he was more likely than Joker, but obviously Joker was the one that got in. So I thought, well, maybe he'll be in Joker's moveset, yeah, or maybe he'll be a spirit battle. I think even in my Persona video before Joker came out, I had Jack Frost as a spirit battle in there. But no, he's got nowhere, and I think that's because Shin Megami Tensei and Persona are being considered different series now, even though Jack Frost appears in all of them. So Jack Frost is technically a good choice for Shin Megami Tensei as opposed to Persona. I feel like that must be the only reason. But Jack Frost, the little imp guy, mascot, Pikachu rival. Not really. He doesn't really stand a chance up to him. But I think it'd be cool. A lot of his standard attacks would probably be pretty standard. He'd walk normally, run, maybe float a little bit, punches and kicks with a little ice elements onto the end of it. Smash attacks with big fists. Like he looks like Mario's sort of height. So imagine him functioning a lot like a cartoon character. That's just sort of the style it is. With alts based on the other types of Jack Frosts that there are, including his old original design with the red hat. That could be neat. But with the specials, I had a few things. It is a very basic moveset. I'm just going to point that out now. So the standard special is Frost Breath, which is similar to what Bowser and Charizard do, but ice themed. So it does little bits of chip damage if you're caught in it. If you're caught in it for long enough, it will freeze you, and you'll get knocked away. But it also, if you hold it down, it'll eventually run out. So Frost Breath is the first one. Side B is Bufu, which is the standard ice spell that you would find in the Atlas games. This can be, I feel like this should be chargeable. So it shoots out like, so actually maybe swap side B and B around, whatever's easiest, they both sort of work. So it shoots out like Ness's PK Fire does, but if it hits someone, it sort of explodes in a ball of ice. So if you do Bufu, it's just a little ball of ice, explodes, has a very low chance of freezing, but a possibility. But if you hold it down, you can do Mubufu, which is the much bigger version of it. And that has a much higher chance of freezing and hits a much wider range. So it's not like PK Fire, which sort of explodes upwards and can trap opponents or knock it away. It's a freezing thing, or it's just a damage dealing thing, but the actual range it has depends on how long you hold it down for. So that was the two main attacking moves. I had Polimpa, which is a move that Jack Frost can learn. It's one of his only few status affecting moves. So he has a lot of moves that can do defense up and all that in the games, but that doesn't translate very well to Smash.
Right.
So I went for the one move he has that causes an effect on the opponent, which this one, it causes panic. And I thought that could be represented in one of three ways. It could either be paralysis, that's the boring way. It could be a bit like Mewtwo's Disable, where it causes the opponent to collapse. Or it could be like a reflector, but a reflector that only reflects people, not actually projectiles or attacks.
So like half of Mario's cape type of
Yeah,
thing?
so like how when you hit Mario's cape and the person turns around, it can do that.
But is it like projectile? Is it at a distance that you're doing that effect?
It's got more range than Mario's cape does.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay.
But it's got more range than Mario's cape does. But I don't know if I'd call it a projectile, more like just a long-ranged attack.
A long-range attack. Okay.
Yeah. But it causes people to flip around.
I like that.
Yeah, because I did consider causing people's controls to get funky, but I thought that might be a bit too over the top if you could
maybe
just automatically cause everyone's controls to sort of mess up.
Oh no!
Yeah. And then his up special is called Sutakora Foot, which was just a teleportation move. In the original games, in Persona Q specifically where he gets it, it allows you to walk back to the beginning of the dungeon. I just figured you could just teleport around. That was a very easy one that fits in with the character. As for the final Smash, I wanted a very deep cut reference on this one. So I went for Jack Bros, which is a reference to Jack Frost's own starring game on the Virtual Boy. Where you could play, it's one of the few like really good Virtual Boy games where you could play as Jack Frost, Pyro Jack, and Jack Ripper, who was called like Jack Skellington in the American versions. And yeah, this is a cutscene based one, but you get knocked into a different cutscene and then Jack Frost appears alongside the other two Jacks and they perform like a team attack basically. Pyro Jack does fire, Jack Frost does ice, and Jack Ripper just stabs people. So he he does that. But it's another cutscene one, but I thought it was a cool little reference to that game, which is Jack Frost's starring role. But yeah, that's the moveset. It was a very straightforward and simple one, but I thought Jack Frost was a big enough sort of character, being the mascot of a company, that definitely have the props there to be in Smash.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's a simple moveset, but I mean that's fine. It's like the ice equivalent of having Pikachu in Smash. It's just like all the moves are electric attack. It's like all the moves are ice attack. It's like, well, I really like the projectile Mario cape thing. That's really fun.
Yeah.
I tried to do I did a similar thing on my Goose moveset. But,
yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, I just wanted something that would replicate panic in the character.
Yeah.
And that worked pretty well.
Yeah, no, that's a really good one. Just I feel like the way you kind of forgot about Sub-Zero, I like did not even think about Jack Frost at all. Not that I could have properly done a moveset for him, but that it's just a very good choice. Because yeah, like you said, literally mascot.
Yeah,
well, those were the first two that came to mind for me were Sub-Zero and Jack Frost. And I mostly just went with Sub-Zero because I was more familiar with him.
Yeah. Funny enough, the Jack Frost wasn't the first one that came to mind. Obviously, did come to mind eventually. The first one that came to my mind, who was my backup choice, was actually Fjorm from Fire Emblem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which could be a cool moveset as a spear user. She has like icicle shards, projectiles.
Right.
And she has her ice mirror, which is a counter, but it's a counter to range attacks only. Which
so like a reflector?
It's pretty much like a reflector, but it would do the damage boosting that counters do.
Ooh.
But other than that, like, I had Swan Slash as like an up special, which is basically the exact same as Marth's, but with a spear, and just references the fact that she's like designed her outfit has like a swan design to it, and just another like water ice projectile. Like the moveset's very basic, like it's similar to Marth's Fire Emblem. Marth Fire Emblem.
Another Marth Echo clone.
But with a spear. It's like an ice attacks.
Ice rolling.
Like it was very basic, whereas Jack Frost I thought was more interesting.
Yeah, that was fun.
But Fjorm was actually my first thought. But
I guess with that we can kind of talk about the few other options that we were looking at. Before we get into that, I do want to highly applaud all of us. We said cool and like stuff like that about 1 million times, and we did not once make a joke out of it.
I felt like if we made a joke out about it, we would have had to do it every time, and that would have taken way too long.
Yeah. So congratulations to us. But yeah. So other than that, I mean, my primary two, there's like Rundas and Noxus and Sub-Zero. The only other one I was really like, and I was like, I hope I don't have to do this one just because it's not that fun, was Mei from Overwatch.
Okay.
Forgot
like
about that.
The thing with Overwatch is, honestly, like nearly every character has like really easy built-in smash specials, just because they have like basically the perfect number for them. So like you have like the freezing frost blast, and then the icicle, and then you can encase yourself in ice and make the walls and stuff like that. So like super easy specials, but the rest of the moveset just kind of like like it's just nothing too interesting about it. Yeah, otherwise I didn't find a whole lot. I mean, obviously I guess you could pick a Pokemon.
Yeah,
there's always ice Pokemon.
Yeah. Ice Pokemon.
Isn't there a
thought of mine? Empoleon and Articuno were two I thought, and Regice, just because I've been using them a lot in Pokemon recently.
Isn't there a polar bear in Rivals of Aether?
Yes, Edelus. That would. I mean, I don't know the odds of that, but that would be pretty cool, and he's pretty fun to play. Yeah. My second choice that I almost kind of wish I went more into was I think it's pronounced Kahlua Diamond from Fighters.
Kula's awesome.
Yeah, Kula, yeah. Because I played that game and on the PS2, and I played her all the time, and I was like, dang, she's really cool. I know, it's just been a while since I played. I mean, I've looked at it because the sprite work is just beautiful.
Yes.
But I was like, I don't know exactly about making a moveset for it, and I just went with what I did. But this was definitely a strong contender in my eyes.
I consider Kula's really awesome. I don't remember, do they have Kula's theme in Smash Brothers?
I don't know. There's so many SNK songs.
That's true.
God. She has a really good theme song, so.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing it. But
I can't think of that off the top of my head.
There's like over 50, so who knows?
Yeah. I mean,
my backup was kind of a cop-out because it was like, well, it's a character I really like, and one of their special moves is ice-based. Not the whole thing, but one of the special moves is ice-based.
Yeah, I tried to avoid that. I was actually trying to think of a Santa Claus character at first because of the winter theme, but I couldn't find one that actually had ice-based powers.
I guess
I was just thinking of like if anyone played the Clay Fighter series of games.
I thought about that actually. I thought about Bad Frosty.
Yeah, Bad Mr. Frosty.
That was one
Santa
on my list. Oh, I forgot about Sumo Santa.
Yeah, but I decided that was a deep cut for this.
You could probably, if you really wanted to, you could probably take some creative liberties with Jingle from Animal Crossing.
Oh my gosh, that
Yeah.
Oh, how about?
I mean,
you know what? Well, I guess he's an ice type Pokemon anyway. You can do Delibird.
Yeah.
That's true. That'd be pretty fun with Present.
Yeah. It might heal your opponent, or it might kill them.
The only other thing I can think of, and this was also a stretch because no real ice powers, but the setting is ice, is Madeline from Celeste.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know, it's Ice Mountain, kind of, but
it's an
she
ice.
doesn't really do ice thingies.
It's an ice adjacent character.
Yeah, exactly.
I've picked Dixie Kong because she is in Tropical Freeze, and
okay, yeah, exactly. But that's kind of it. This was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, I feel very similar to the sports episode. There's not like a gimmick or a thing that is like almost no matter what character you choose, this is how they're going to be defined. Like being an ice character is really more. It's like half the time it's just a reskin of a fire character, you know. So it's
yeah, different effects, but you know,
it's just like a neat. Different aesthetic. Like, you know, there's freezing and there's tripping on the ground, stuff like that. But there's nothing insanely like game changing that would have to be implemented, like for a chef character or for a mech or something like that. You know.
Oh, I was gonna say, actually, speaking on the sports episode, I think it was Pizza that did the football one, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I was thinking of trying to do something like that, but with like a skiing game or snowboarding game.
Oh, do the guy from Ski Free.
Yeah.
Yeah, like steep, and even like the older like NES games, or even like hockey and stuff like that. I'm like, maybe I could spin something like that.
1080 snowboarding. Let's go.
There you go.
Smacking people with the back of the snowboard.
You have a whole gimmick where you like while you're in the air, you can pull off strings of aerial moves that are like tricks, and you get
snowboard kids characters.
So much choice. And then I know I mentioned this before the call, and I think before Nanten got in, but I'm kicking myself and so upset that I did not consider Club Penguin as a
Oh man, I was actually trying to think of a penguin character and I couldn't do it.
Okay, wait, 1080 degrees just reminded me of Snowboard Kids from N64. Oh, that could have been fun.
Snowboard Kids would have been a fun one.
But
yeah,
we had a lot of options.
That was a good one. I think we all had really good moves sets for something that's surprisingly difficult to come up with.
Yeah,
you'd think an element would be easier, but ice is apparently an unused element.
Yeah, I feel like every single time basically every episode, we're like, this was harder than expected. It's like, maybe that's why there's like none of these characters in Smash.
Yeah. Wow.
Maybe.
Yeah, very good job, everyone. So I guess if we want to go through all the stuff that we're working on right now, PK.
Oh, yeah, I'm PK. You can find me at PK_King544 on anywhere, but mainly YouTube, please. I am still working on Loadent, my character for Rivals of Aether, but he's coming along perfectly. He's in his alpha state. All his moves are basically done. Things are going super smoothly. Updates on him should be very soon. And, yeah, everything's all good.
Nice. Pizza.
I'm PizzaDudeManGuy.
Cool. And
every time.
Me, I'm obviously here. Not too many videos for the rest of the year. More cars outside, always. But so there's gonna be this one, and before this comes out, there's gonna be a video where I actually kind of retrospectively look at some of the first couple movesets I made for this series and just kind of like fully fill them out. And in between that is a cover song that I'm really excited about. It's like a well, it should be out by now, but yeah, I mean, so this will be out by the time that's out, but it's
okay.
It's This Is How We Roll by Florida Georgia Line in the style of Linkin Park. So that was really fun to do, and I'm really excited for how the production turned out. So if you haven't listened to that, go check it out. Other than that, just kind of wrapping up the year and trying to plan for next year. And Nanten?
Yeah, I don't know what's going to be done and already out by the time this video is, and what I'm going to have coming up, but to find out, just subscribe to Source Gaming or follow us on Twitter at AllSourceGaming. That's the best way, because I honestly don't know. I've got a bunch of stuff obviously coming up, but the chances are they'll all be out by the time this video goes live. I guess if I had to plug one thing, I've been doing a series of videos on why certain characters got into Smash, and also why certain characters got thought of but ultimately didn't make it into Smash. And we're currently, as of speaking, up to Brawl. So if you're interested in that, there's at least 5 videos for you to go watch right now, covering the first 2 games. So go do that.
Yes, I very, very much enjoy that series.
Good series.
Thank you.
So this episode, I don't know exactly when it's going to come out, but it's going to come out sometime towards the end of the year, obviously, whenever you're watching it. But since we're here, just wanted to say thanks for following. I think we put out like 5 episodes this year, something like that. And we have tons of ideas for future episodes. So just subscribe and check out the rest of the series. Check out all these guys' awesome stuff. And as always, thanks for watching. See you later.
Bye. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.